How to speedrun MCSR like a pro player. Finding a buried treasure. Buried treasure is one of 5 potential overworlds seen in MCSR runs. So it's kind of important to be able to find the chest or you can't play 20% of the possible seeds in matches. But how do we find this treasure chest straight off the spawn and without the map using a normal survival let's play? We're going to need to change our FOV first of all to what is described as normal but it's really just 70. We also want our render distance to be 8 and our entity distance to be 50%. But let me actually explain theoretically how it works before I show it in action. We're going to use a portion of the pie chart that describes the current lag produced by entity types in our current FOV. We're going to hunt for the chest specifically as it's classed as a block entity. Since we've set our render distance to 8, it will go 8 chunks from where we're looking at, which not only covers the island we're searching, but will be enough for insurance to ensure we do not have any conflicts with other potential structures. Meanwhile, our FOV will give us coverage for diagonal scanning. So using the grid on screen example, if I scan south or if I scan east, I will not get a result, but I would get a positive result north and west. So we're going to move 1 chunk in each positive direction, so 1 north and 1 west, which is basically just upwards left diagonally. And then we do this process again and find we have only 1 positive result, which will be north. So we're now going to go north 1 chunk. Now our in-game indicator for being in the correct final chunk, as well as we won't have a grid like this, is if there's a positive result in every single direction. Is our lag logic will always provide a reading on your current chunk along with your direction. So in game to get this reading, we open up our pie chart with Shift and F3 and press the subheading numbers relating to the following: Game Renderer, Level and Entities. Now the orange blob is always going to be your block entity result. Let's also press F3 and G to clearly define each chunk with our borders. So using the theory previously explained, south doesn't give a reading, east gives us a very healthy blob, north repeats this effect while west is utter rubbish. So we're going to move 1 chunk east and 1 chunk north. We get the same readings one more time, so once again we go positive east and positive north. But hold on a minute, in this new chunk our north, our west and our south and finally our east all give a very healthy orange blob. Good news, we're in the right chunk, but where do we find the treasure itself? Well, fun fact about buried treasure generation, if a chunk is deemed to have a buried treasure, it will always be contained in the block position 9 of 9 of the individual chunk. Notice how we use our F3 screen at the top to navigate to this individual block and we find our chest. With that, we can out to loot a buried treasure, so dinna be shy, comment what MCSR skill you want to see next.